On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Gary Brito, I'd like to welcome you to the second day of the Maneuver Warfighting Conference. This illustration of McGinnis-Wickham Hall depicts the layout of this year's Maneuver Conference. You are still located in Marshall Auditorium. The information desk is directly outside this auditorium at the main entrance to McGinnis-Wickham Hall. Inside and outside of McGinnis-Wickham Hall is the exhibitor trade show run by DFMWR office. They also have multiple food vendors around the building. Please track the conference using our social media links listed here. #ManWarCon. This morning we will have a 9/11 remembrance video and remarks by the Garrison Chaplain, Chaplain Agaberry. Following the prayer, we'll have a presentations from Brigadier General Kaufman, the Allied panel, and a brief from Major General Eflant. Just like yesterday, we'll have question and answer sessions for each presentation. For our VTC presentation, one of our ushers will be in the audience passing out 3x5 cards, and we ask that you write your questions on them. For audio clarity, we'll ask your questions from the podium. For our other presenters, our ushers will be in the audience with microphones. Please use them. Also, please refrain from taking photos, recording, or posting conference information on social media sites. If you are noticed doing any of these activities, our ushers will bring it to the attention of the Public Affairs Office and conference leadership. Be aware we do have representatives from the media reporting on certain portions of this conference. These individuals are escorted by PAO. Again, at the conclusion of breaks, please promptly return to your seats. This evening's event is the Armor Social at the Benning Conference Center in the Regimental Room in Fiddler's Green from 1800 to 2100. Uniform is OCP or business casual. As a reminder for tomorrow, we have a very in-depth and worthwhile agenda with the Force Com Commander, the 1st Army Commander, the Chief, the SMA, and both the 82nd and 101st Airborne Division Commanders. So I recommend you stay until the completion of the Maneuver Warfighter Conference to get your money's worth. Please play the Remembrance Ceremony.
What? 737?
It what?
Like the World Trade. Who are you talking to?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
United 175, New York. We have some problems over here right now.
On that particular day, I'd gone to work. I got there a few minutes late, and somebody stopped me and said, hey, a plane hit the World Trade Center.
I'm a New Yorker. My dad was working in the city at that time, so certainly it hit close to home. And in the days that followed, trying to get accountability of two of my friends. One was killed in the Pentagon on 9/11. The other was killed in the Twin Towers, a high school classmate who was a firefighter who lost his life there.
On 9/11, I was a lieutenant at Fort Hood, Texas, sitting in the optometry office, getting my eyes dilated. My eyes were all blurry, looking up at the TV screen, not really knowing what I was looking at, and seeing smoke from the towers during the first plane strike. Since I'm from New York, it was tough. It was a tough time.
We were getting ready to move out, and suddenly reports started trickling in that we were being attacked. Then after that, they put us all on 5-ton trucks and brought us back to the barracks and told us, hey, listen, watch the TV, see what's going on, but be prepared. We might be going to war in the next day or so.
Good morning. 9/11 is a day that will forever remain in infamy. The video we just watched had two important messages. One, in life, everyone has a story to tell. For those of us sitting here this morning, the story is or should be about service. It is the story of our service members who fought and fell in the deserts of Iraq and Afghanistan to preserve our freedom. I still remember the message of a mother to her dying Marine son. All she wanted me to whisper in his ears as he lay dying far away in Baghdad was, "Mama loves you." That is a legacy of selfless service, a story of true patriotism. It is not about what your country can do for you, but what you can give of yourself in service to others. The second message of the video is to never forget. Never forget is a call to keep the memory of the service and sacrifice of our fallen heroes alive. Through our own service, we must not only tell their story aloud for all who care to hear until service becomes our national character. Most importantly, service should not become a platitude which we throw about without any substance. We must faithfully live it and embody it in our leadership. It's okay to get 10% discount from Home Depot or from Lowe's, but service is not about that. Service is about character and needs to become the true testament of what we believe and stand for, what is buried deep in the core of our being. As General Colin Powell once noted in a speech to the Corps of Cadets, you can inscribe duty, honor, country on every granite block, and it will mean nothing unless those words are engraved in your heart. By the metaphor of the heart, the general was referring to the character of the military leader. Leadership is hollow until we live by the code inscribed in our heart. May our character shine today and every day. Pray with me. Gracious God, we stand before you this morning, foremost in memory of the many innocent lives lost in the tragic event of 9/11 terrorist attacks on our homeland. Most especially, we remember today our fallen service members who paid the ultimate sacrifice so that our nation may be saved from future enemy attacks. Lord, as we pause to remember them and honor their service to our country, we pray that you may preserve their memory in our hearts so that we as a nation will never forget their sacrifice and that their heroism will always serve as a shining example of selfless service for us and generations after us. God, even as we pause to honor and pray for the heroes who came before us, we also remember, honor, and pray for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, young men and women who are today proudly and honorably serving our country at a critical moment in our nation's history. We especially pray for our service members who are currently in harm's way, that you may shield and preserve them under your divine protection. Finally, God, we thank you for a great country. Preserve its greatness and bless its riches. This I pray in the name of the merciful and gracious God. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Director, Next Generation Combat Vehicle Cross-Functional Team, Brigadier General Richard Kaufman.
Thanks. Well, good morning. Large-scale combat operations and lethality in the brigade combat team. That's the theme of this conference, and I can't imagine a better topic to talk about with the maneuverists in this room. This is a unique collection of those men and women that have been charged to synchronize warfighting functions on the modern-day battlefield. And for me, I realize that no one's going to do that for us. That's our job. That's what we get paid to do. Large-scale combat operations, lethality at the brigade command level. It's a huge responsibility. And for me, all of that starts with the enemy. So that in 2028, the NDS tells us that we are supposed to be able to fight our pacing threat, Russia. How will they fight us? Will it be a static defense, a mobile defense, limited attack, deliberate attack? I don't know. But what I can guarantee is they will not cower and hide under the PowerPoint red bubbles that we've placed all over the earth, and we call it A2AD. They will be tenacious. They will come after us with everything they have, and we got to be ready. And that's why we're here. We're here to talk about how we get ready for the future fight, not only today, but 2028 and beyond. One thing I can guarantee also is that the Russians are not 10 feet tall. The intel community would lead you to believe that they have an unstoppable force that has so many capabilities. Well, guess what? So do we. And with our allies and partners, there is no finer force in the world. So don't be fooled. They're not 10 feet tall. They're men and women that we will defeat in armed conflict should that day ever come. But we also need to be cognizant that they're not 2 feet tall either. They're a formidable opponent, but we don't need to be scared. We just got to be ready. Again, our job is to synchronize warfighting functions on the modern-day battlefield. We are the maneuverists, us. You have to know as much about fires and chemical detection and sustainment as those members on your staff and to your left and right. That's our job. We've got to put it together. It's just not going to happen magically. It's the S3s, the XOs, those sitting around the war game that pull it together. But trust me, and I've been doing this a long time, when a decision needs to be made, the people around that table look at one person, and that's either the infantryman or the armor officer or NCO leading it for direction. They're providing technical expertise, and you are applying it to the modern fight. It's an awesome responsibility. We all need to take it very seriously because that means you have to be experts at not only your job, but you have to know how to apply their assets as well. Next chart. And again, it starts with the enemy. One other point. The people in this room start at the objective and work backwards. We apply combat forces based on COFMs and other analysis from the objective and back. Everyone else in the Army is focused on shaping deep and then deeper to enable that fight. They are not going to solve your tactical problem. It's not going to happen. It's up to us. So we all know that our number one priority, number one, above all else, is to be able to fight tonight and win. And what I'd offer is, number two, for everyone in this room, should be how are we going to fight in 2028 and win? I have had it up to my eyeballs in blogs, social media posts, articles, where we waste a lot of mental energy on Army decisions that have already been made. I frankly, at this point, don't care what your opinion on the new Army Greens is, because that decision's gone, right? We've already made that decision. We don't need to spend any energy. I'd ask you, what are you reading? What are you thinking, and what are you writing about? And if it's not how we're going to fight tonight or how we're going to fight tomorrow in 2028, please recalibrate. We need your help because we don't have the answers, okay? It's going to take us all. And the good ideas are going to come from the person in the top row in the last seat. And we want you to be heard, and we want to get them out there and discuss them. Next chart. But again, I take you back to the enemy. We talk a lot about it. You're familiar with this. I don't need to go around the circle. But the enemy's going to fight in every domain. They're going to provide information operations. They're going to EW, space, cyberspace. You know this. But again, so do we. We have all of that. And we can apply it in real time, and we can do it hyperactively. So how are you going to do it at echelon? We got to think this through because we have a concept called MDO, but the application of that and the doctrine and how that applies at your level, your specific level. Fix your part of the Army first. Apply it there and help us through it. In AFC, Army Futures Command, and here in this room with everyone, we do have a singular problem that we're trying to fix. Next chart. And whether it's Dave Hodney, working soldier lethality, or me, working the next generation of combat vehicles, look, we're overmatched. 104 countries in this world have a 30-millimeter cannon, and we've got a 25. The goal is to see the enemy before they see us and kill the enemy before they can kill us at range. So you look up there, average shots in the upper right-hand corner in different theaters. And then below each of those platforms is the number of stowed kills. That's how many assets of the enemy you can destroy with a single vehicle. We're working to up the stow kills, increase identification, because remember, our enemy fires on detect. We fire on identify. So we have to identify the enemy well before they can detect us. And we have to have weapons, whether it's in the hands of an infantryman that they're developing here or on the Bradley replacement. We got to be able to shoot further than our enemy. Now, at a certain point, this is a game. What one person can do, another person can do. Can they create the same weapon? Yes. Our magic sauce and our ammunition. Our ammunition is better than anyone's in the world. I didn't know that before I took this job. I didn't understand how good we are at ammunition. And when combined with the other technologies we have, very, very lethal. Next chart. Okay, little confession. Multi-domain operations confounded me for a long time. It's a concept, and I understood the concept, but the problem that I had was, how am I going to apply this at the tactical and low-level operational level? And I don't know that I have the answer, but what I'm going to go through is a series of slides of how I process it. You see, it all starts with me with the battle NCO, the battle captain, the battle major in every conflict I've ever been in. And those people had a list of available assets. Whether that's mortars, artillery, there's going to be an A-10 on station from here to here. We've got a growler coming in. We had assets and we knew when we could apply them. And those battle majors, those battle captains, when they were faced with a tactical dilemma, they went to their list and there was a menu of assets that they could apply to help solve that problem. Okay, so multi-domain operations across domain, it's the same deal. But right now, what we've added with space and cyberspace and EW, we're short on those assets, right? I mean, as a nation, they're not prevalent everywhere, so we've husbanded them. And we've held the authority at a very high level. But by 2028, when we will fight, they'll become more prevalent. And what we, collectively in this room, we have to decide at what level do we want the access to multi-domain effects? And what are the authorities that we are willing to give at echelon? So access and authorities combined with multi-domain effects, and now it's starting to click with me, okay? Now I'm starting to get this and it's processing in my mind. But I still had a problem. And the problem was, okay, Army Futures Command has 6 modernization priorities, and we're developing all this stuff, but I'm the maneuver guy. So in order to develop the Bradley replacement, the next tank, the robots, I need to understand what Dave Hodney's doing. I need to understand what Wally Rugen's doing with Future Vertical Lift. I am a maneuverist. I have to understand all that so that my modernization efforts aren't in the way. They are leading the way or complementary. I said, look, I'm a fat tanker from Kentucky. The only way I know to do this is to do a war game. Next chart. So on the left-hand side, lower left, you see all the CFTs. I put mine at the top because it's my favorite. So NGCV CFT, what are we doing? We're Bradley replacement. Robots, think 5 to 7 tons, 10 tons, 20-ton robots that can shoot, move, and communicate on the battlefield. We're going to replace the 113. We've got mobile protected firepower for our light forces. And we're looking at what comes after Abrams. Next, long-range protective fire. A cannon that shoots over 50 kilometers and a rocket that can go 1,000. Where do you put the PAAs? How are you going to resupply them? What's that look like? We own the terrain. The maneuver folks own terrain. So where do you want that PAA so it's not going to impact your maneuver or your sustainment? Future vertical lift. Developing aircraft that can fly further without gas and faster. Lethal with a 30-kilometer missile shot. How are you going to use those? Where's the PAA going to be? Because you own the terrain. Do you need a FARP? Do you not need a FARP? What's that do to the golden hour? So we have to think of all these. Next, AMD. We all know the problem. Our most precious resources in the world, our soldiers, they don't have protection from air attack. AMD, MSHORAD, coming in to fill that void. Soldier lethality, right here at Fort Benning. General Hodney developing weapons that can shoot further than our enemy with common ammo and developing systems that provide situational awareness to our infantry soldiers in the close fight. In my opinion, that will translate to other platforms across our Army, starting with a very small group and then going to expand it onto vehicles, etc. Very, very exciting. Network, look, very, very famous general. General Thurman said, if you ain't talking, you're camping. The network is huge, it's cross-cutting. Someone recommended recently in an article that that should be the #2 priority. It is at the top, it cuts all priorities, right? We have to be able to talk. AP&T, this gets after, GPS can be jammed, GPS can be spoofed. This effort fixes that. And then the STE, synthetic training environment, that's where you can train at home station on your vehicles in one world terrain. If you're a squad leader in Charlie Company, you can pull up, hey, let's go to Morocco today and do some training. Exciting. And then we took all those capabilities, we came up with a very basic scenario. You are aware, very familiar with scenario 7, but bottom line is an evil empire is not content with the land that they have, and they annex another portion of a sovereign nation, and that sovereign nation is friendly with us, and our job is to restore the international boundary. Next chart. All right, so then we get into the MDO. You got compete And General Funk told us yesterday, we're in competition now. That started a long time ago, and that competition changes. The competition changes once hostilities start. Once shots are fired, competition changes. And how does that manifest itself on the modern day battlefield? Well, that means you're not just on a train moving and lollygagging when you get off the railhead. You are maneuvering to posture, using the tenets that we all know, right? Traveling, overwatch, bounding watch. You're traveling until you have to change movement techniques. Well, that's happening across the force. And then penetrate. I struggled with, okay, what the hell are we penetrating? What is this? It's the A2AD. It's the red bubbles, the invisible force fields that we've put on PowerPoint slides across our Army. We must penetrate their A2AD, and we're going to do that with the Air Force and with long-range fires. Intel collecting on the HPTL and then delivering fires, whether it's the artillery supporting the air to enable them to get in or the air supporting the artillery. But we have to penetrate this, and it all starts with that first step. At the tactical and operational level, we are posturing and we are shooting deep to remove their advantage of air defense and long-range fires. That's what happens. That's what's going to happen as you're moving towards the LD. Next chart. And once that's done, we have to disintegrate them. Disintegrate, not disintegrate. There's an ROE violation in there somewhere. Bottom line is, we need to attrit them to the point that we're comfortable crossing the LD. Their maneuver forces, their command and control, their fire structure. We're going after them with long-range attacks by fires, air, rotary, everything to set the conditions that we attack on our terms. Next chart. And then once those conditions are set, once there is a window of opportunity that is identified potentially by a company commander or battalion commander, it's go time. And we attack. We attack with a vengeance, and we go and push them out of this country that they've invaded. And there are only two ways we will stop. We will stop when we are successful, or we'll stop when the enemy situation changes, and we have to go back into disintegrate. And you bounce back and forth from disintegrate to exploit and disintegrate to exploit until you are successful and you have pushed them out of that country. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, at the tactical and low-level operational level, that's what MDO is. But I'm not an expert, right? I just kind of worked this out myself and thought through this with the team, and the team iterated on it. Make it better. Make what I just said better. Think about it, write on it, read. Because together, this doctrine that comes out, we're going to live with and we're going to fight. We talk about air, land, battle. You know, we often talk about we lose a lot of first battles. Let me tell you 3 we didn't lose. We didn't lose Desert Storm. We didn't lose Anaconda, and we didn't lose the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Air, land, battle executed with precision. And Anaconda, if you take the lessons from Anaconda, that is the synchronization of multi-domain ops at a single point in time. Because we did it over an ATO cycle. And what's different about MDO is that we're synchronizing effects across MDO hyperactively. So that as a window of opportunity approaches, the battle major, the battle captain, the company commander, the battalion commander has a list of assets and applies those dynamically and over again to disintegrate and exploit until we're successful. Next chart. But how the hell are we going to do this? Next chart, please. This is my vision of the future battlefield. Whether this is in a heads-up display on a screen in your vehicle, on a tablet here in front of you, this is what I envision. And this is what we are trying to make a reality for you. So you have blue and red icons up there. The blue is easy. We've been doing that for years. The red icons, the enemy common operating picture has eluded armies since Agincourt. We don't know where the hell they are. We got double reporting. We turn a platoon into a company into a battalion. So how do we get around this? And then once you know where the enemy is, or you think you know where the enemy is, how do you apply effects to them very rapidly? And while a lot of people look at this screen, they say, well, blue and red icons, what really is amazing to me is on that tablet, notebook, heads-up display in front of the commander, that's got a lot of information, but what's most important is it's got options. Are you going to put EW on it? Do you need a cyber solution? Do you need fires? How are you going to do that? There's options in real time. Next chart. So we've started something called Project Quarterback. Project Quarterback is, frankly, my passion. It is a series of manned and unmanned sensors, ground and air, that automatically identify a T-90 tank and geolocate it. That can be done today. And then that information is aggregated onto a common interface, promulgated across the force, and then in the middle there, a machine, because it knows where all the F-35s are, the artillery, the mortars, the tanks, says the best asset on this planet to destroy that son of a bitch that's trying to kill us is this artillery piece, and the mission goes to the artillery piece. We're going to demonstrate this a year from now. This is an exciting, exciting time. There's lots, look, this is a huge challenge. It's not easy. Each individual piece someone is working on. But we're pulling all that together, we're aggregating it with the Joint Force, with the Army, with the science and technology, with academia. We're doing that. Project Quarterback in your hands is a game changer. Next chart. Very, very fast, because I'm the Next Generation Combat Vehicle CFT Director. If I didn't talk about the vehicles we're working on, I would probably be shot. Next chart. All right, so the Bradley replacement, 1 October. So 19 days, yes, I'm counting. 19 days from now, industry will deliver bid samples and a written proposal for the Bradley replacement. In 2026, first unit equipped. And you're like, damn, that's a long time, Kaufman. Let's go. That's super fast. When you talk acquisition and putting new vehicles in the hands of soldiers, we're probably beating the next best by 4 years. It is fast. So 2026, in your hands, the Bradley replacement. We've set threshold requirements and objective requirements. I am confident they meet threshold requirements and at least one of the objective requirements, best vehicle in the world. Best vehicle in the world. And that's not hubris. This is analysis and facts, in my opinion. Robotic combat vehicles, very exciting. Think payload agnostic robots equipped with sensors, whether those are chemical, visual, any type of sensor you want, audio, breaching assets, weapons, 50 caliber all the way up to 120 millimeter. We're doing 3 experiments with these. 2 weeks ago up in Grayling, Michigan, which is, I live in Michigan, which is not as warm as it sounds. I watched 4 robots controlled by 2 vehicles in the defilade move in a wedge formation up to a point of advantage, engage the enemy with indirect and direct fire, and there wasn't a human touching it, okay? The humans were controlling it from the back. Our robots now today can do it, waypoint navigation, obstacle avoidance, and teleoperation. The distance where we can do that is not where we want it to be. It's a physics problem. It's really, really hard. But we're using creative solutions like tethered UAVs and multi-band radios to extend that. But it's a hard problem. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to reduce the number of soldiers we need in our Army, in my opinion. You still got to do maintenance. You still got to pull security. You still have to do all these things. But it's going to reduce the risk to our most precious asset. So why would we ever send a soldier to go detect chemicals again? Why would we ever put a soldier into the breach, the most dangerous location on the battlefield? Why would we do that when a robot can do it? AMP-V has replaced the tired and old 113 fleet. It's needed. 2021, first unit equipped. They're rolling off the line right now, low rate initial production. With soldier feedback from Fort Hood, there were 28 things that they didn't like about it. We're fixing 27 of them. Okay, soldier feedback is critical. So if you get tasked to support Army Futures Command to look at a vehicle and provide feedback, we take that so seriously that I lay that out to the Secretary of the Army, Chief of Staff of the Army myself. We did or did not do what the soldiers said. It's powerful. Mobile protective firepower in a snippet. Every World War II movie you've ever watched, the infantry are pinned down. They can't go forward. There's a machine gun nest. There's a vehicle standing in their way. They have to get around it. And thank God for Audie Murphy-like characters that go up there and drop a grenade in. Okay, we're not going to do that crap anymore, right? We may need to. We may need Audie Murphy again. But now the infantryman is going to say, hey, MPF, come up here and remove that thing from the battlefield, and it's going to pull up under armor. It's going to shoot it and destroy it, and then the infantryman can continue on. Our light forces are lacking this capability. That's been down-selected into 2. Still in active competition. I can't speak to specifics about the 2, but they're very different, and they're offering really good options for the Source Selection Board. Really exciting. And then obsolete manned tank. I've been criticized to my face and behind my back because I said I didn't care if it was a tank, and I maintain my position. I just want it to be survivable and extremely lethal. If it hovers, shoots lasers, it's run by a flux capacitor, I don't care. I want it survivable and lethal. Is that a missile? Is that a long rod penetrator? Everything is on the table, and there's studies going on. The Army Science Board's doing a study. They've continued it on for another year. I've got a technical study going on up in Warren, Michigan by CCDC. But what we want is that our armored crewmen have a survivable vehicle that they can, frankly, go into any situation and win. So with that, I think that's my last chart, and I've got just about 20 minutes for questions. Next chart. Anything's on the table, and everything is for attribution from me. So ask anything you want.
How you doing, sir?
Awesome.
Staff Sergeant Lamb with SLC. My question to you is, with the advancements of the technology that you guys are going to provide for us, what effect will it have on doctrine and our ability to train the soldiers to be proficient at actually executing battle drills? So will it change battle drills, or will it just add to current battle drills that we have in place right now?
So the short answer is I don't know. Okay, but let me expand it a little bit. Will it change battle drills? In my opinion, I think the battle drills are solid, but let's say you have a rifle that can shoot further. Okay, well, when you do move in to that battle drill and you're setting a base of fire, maybe that base of fire doesn't need to be so close. Maybe you can choose terrain that is further away from the enemy so they can't affect you with direct fire. You're going to have to apply these tools, and we all have to get behind it. You're thinking the exact right thing. How do I take this technology and apply it to our battle drills today? And if I don't need to change them, then what are the TTPs that I need to use to apply it there? But look, and this is oversimplified, and I realize I'm at Fort Benning, and so please don't throw tomatoes at me. We got more than one play, but really we've got one main play. We set a base of fire and we envelop, right? That's what we do. So where's that base of fire going to be? What route do you need to go to move into a position of advantage if you have a longer range cannon or rifle? And as a non-commissioned officer, you're leading that. You're saying, I need you here because I know that is 250 meters away, and this is where you're going to set up. So it's the application of the technology. Our doctrine is sound, and we're going to have to apply it in that manner. Does that answer your question? Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel Sondergaard, Danish Army. In your development of the RCV, have you had any thoughts on what happens when the Russians jam or in any other way destroys the connections between the teleoperator and the vehicle?
I'm sorry, was your question about, the microphone cut out a little bit. Ask your question again, please.
Radio check. In the development of the RCV, what thoughts have you done in your work to mitigate Russian jamming of the radio waves that you use to control the RCVs?
Yeah, so anything is hackable. Anything is hackable. What we've done is we've looked at what different bands will we be communicating on. Do we have a self-healing capability? Can it go from terrestrial to satellite? What are the most common levels of attack that we need to protect to? And then go a little bit further. We're bringing in red team. We're hiring like people out of their mother's basement to red team not only the requirements writing, but also attack our systems. We're very cognizant of it. And I know you live it every day, right? I mean, this is a huge problem. But self-healing networks, because there's nothing worse in my mind than a robot with a 120 millimeter cannon on it being taken over by your enemy and turned on you. You're like, son of a gun, right? I mean, so, thanks. No questions? Sir.
Thanks, General Kaufman. Great presentation. I'm Lieutenant General Martin from TRADOC. You said the soldiers down at Fort Hood, ID 28. You're going to fix 27. What's number 28 we can't get, if you're allowed to?
No, absolutely. So the 28th recommendation was for the Mission Command variant, the soldiers didn't like the order of where the seats were. And it would require an entire redesign. And my position was, you're sitting here, fixed. So just, we got to apply this. I could spend millions and millions of dollars to reconfigure everything, but just turn your butt around and you're fine. So that's the one, sir. Sir? All right, thank you all.